Well, ladies and gentlemen, the conversation around Tifa and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is taking off, and it is making the internet light on fire. We haven't seen something like this happen in quite a bit. Honestly, the last thing that really united the internet like this was probably Hogwarts Legacy, and rightfully so. And now we have another example of what happens when both sides of the aisle get together and appreciate the fact that hot women still exist and boobs are still a thing. They are not just for non-modern audiences, they are for everybody. And here's another example. I'm sorry I got to grace you with this picture, ladies and gentlemen, but of course, let's just start off the video. Listen, Tifa is making the internet go absolutely insane, and we're here for it.
Mama!
I have some examples here on Twitter. They're gonna drive some of you insane because we have posts from people that are trying to fight and argue against the fact that Tifa should be the way that she is, and they're trying to say that this is not what a modern character is supposed to look like. This is not what modern audiences want, and I guarantee you they couldn't be further from the truth.
For a modern gaming audience.
So let's get into this video, guys. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it, and like the video to push us out into the YouTube algorithm. Now, let's start the video on a little bit of a funny note. This is something that I posted on Twitter, and it's getting some pretty good traction right now. It's a picture that I found, which is basically Tifa, but for modern audiences, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, I know. I know. I hear you guys. I hear you guys right now. I can literally hear you guys screaming, "Why are you doing this to us, Hypnotic? Why? I'm sorry. I just thought it was funny. I saw the picture. I reposted it. This is not our Tifa. This will never be our Tifa. This is the Tifa for modern audiences. For the 4 or 5 people who are out there claiming to be modern audiences, this is what they say they want to see, and it's because they're just as ugly, if not worse." Now, let's actually talk about the fact that you have people going nuts right now on Twitter, okay? This particular person, Ty Kim, who apparently is a senior writer at Barron's, whatever the hell that is, I'm not really sure. They've been posting a whole bunch of things left and right on Twitter regarding modern audiences and female video game characters being way too sexy, way too risque. And for this kind of person, he actually mentions that Aloy from Horizon Forbidden West, Aloy is the actual character that should be used as an example for doing female characters correctly, apparently. This is how he feels, and let's get into it. So he makes a character, he makes a post that says, "Characters like Aloy remain too rare among mainstream games. As a video game enthusiast, I find it uncomfortable playing leading titles like Tomb Raider, Genshin Impact, or Bayonetta, all of which feature female characters in skimpy outfits." Now, what are the chances do you think that Ty Kin is actually a gamer, ladies and gentlemen, especially a gaming enthusiast, as he's, so kindly putting it in his post? I highly doubt that he is a gaming enthusiast, because any gaming enthusiast will not be sitting there while trying to enjoy a game and thinking to themselves, "Oh, this character is too sexy. This character is too risque. This character is wearing a skimpy outfit." If you're sitting there thinking about that while playing a video game, then you're not actually a fan of video games. You're somebody who's on the outside looking in, and you don't know what video games are meant to be, which, guess what? They're meant to be fantasy. They're meant to be role play. They're meant to be something that's not real. They're meant to be something that is unrealistic sometimes. Unless it's a game based in reality, you're probably going to get something that's a little bit unrealistic. But of course, these people know that. So he makes a comment over here saying, "Hey, gaming industry, do you have a minute? It's time to grow up. Plenty of video games don't rely on cringe-inducing portrayals, but familiar gender tropes of the damsel in distress and the use of overly sexualized characters turn up far too often." Now, the funniest thing to me when people do this, when they try to make a claim of over-sexualized, is that they're the ones that are over-sexualizing them. They're the ones who are looking at this character in a sexual way. It's not our fault that you're viewing this character in that manner. A lot of people view Tifa as a badass character who fucks things up with their fists. You know what I mean? Like, you're the one that's actually focusing on the sexual aspect of the character. Not many people are doing so. Now, obviously, when you have the bathing suit scene, you're probably going to get more iterations of people who are interested in the sexual aspect of the character. But when she's in battle gear, when she's messing things up, when they're playing the game and fighting monsters and fighting boss battles, sexualization is the last thing on most people's minds. Apparently, it's not for you because that's what you want to focus on. And you're focusing on it because you don't want to admit that you got attracted to the sexualization of the character. That's just the truth of the matter. So you want people to remove the sexualization just because of what reasons? And it's funny how this is a man telling women what they should be into or what they should be dressed like or what they should be looking like. Like, I find that interesting coming from someone who sees so many women say that they don't want men to tell them what to do or how to dress or whatever. And here you have a man telling you what feminization should be like in video games. It's interesting. It says, here's an incident about a decade ago has become a poster child for gaming's cultural issues. I was wondering if we could have some characters that don't look like they stepped out of Victoria's Secret catalog. Activision Blizzard developers ridiculed her suggestion. This is something that Bloomberg Opinion wrote, I guess, a few years back, saying an incident at a conference about a decade ago has become the poster child for the industry's cultural issues. I love the fact that you have a lot of very strong female characters, a woman said to an all-male panel of developers from Activision Blizzard, maker of mega hits World of Warcraft and Call of Duty. However, I was wondering if we could have some that don't look like they stepped out of a Victoria's Secret catalog. A smattering of applause was quickly drowned out by a sea of boos. Instead of defending her, the developers ridiculed her suggestion. And rightfully so. Her suggestion probably should be ridiculed because let's be real. Again, if you're focusing on what the character is wearing, you're not actually probably a gamer in the long run. You're probably just somebody who's outside looking in and trying to make comments at first glance at what you perceive to be over sexualization. And let's be real, even if it is sexualization of the character, everything is sexualized. I guarantee you this woman who made this comment at this little conference here, I guarantee you she had absolutely no issues with the way that Thor was sexualized in Thor Love and Thunder, the way they stripped him all the way down to nothing, and they made it a scene for almost 2 minutes. I guarantee you those were the 2 best minutes of her life, and she never once commented on the sexualization of Thor. It's so many different iterations of male characters that get that same exact treatment, and yet nobody ever comments about it. Nobody ever says anything. It's never a problem because ultimately it shouldn't be a problem, right? It shouldn't be a problem. It's something that if you want to take that artistic approach, you're going to have people who are going to like it and you're going to have people who are going to dislike it. But you should not be deciding whether or not you remove something based off what one person says or the other. Make your artistic vision and let the audience decide from there. And it's very clear that people and the entire internet have decided that Tifa is the waifu, okay? Tifa is absolutely waifu. Nobody wants this nonsense, okay? This is a perfect example I showcased on Hypnocast that I reposted on my Twitter account. You're gonna see Eve on the left from Stellar Blade. You're gonna see Tifa on the right from Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and then you're gonna have modern audiences. This is what makes people comfortable, apparently, ladies and gentlemen. These pictures are what makes modern audiences comfortable. This makes modern audiences uncomfortable. And if that's the truth, if that's what you really want me to believe, then guess what? I'm going to be perfectly fine with making you uncomfortable. I'm gonna want as much of this as humanly possible and as little of this as humanly possible. Nobody likes this shit. Everybody makes fun of it. It gets roasted to the end of time, and the only people that like it are the ones that are shilling online for it on Twitter, or because obviously Twitter's a real place. We learned that in our last video. But you're going to get examples of this left and right, and people are going to try to use this as a means to try to stick it to the conservative or get people to try to hate, I guess, the top over here. You're gonna really try to get people to hate this. Nobody's going to hate this, man. The people who are actively hating it online, I guarantee you when the cameras are off, when the Twitter posts are done, when the phone is put down, guess what they're thinking about? Guess what they're probably looking at the end of the day? They're looking at this. They're looking at this and admiring it, ladies and gentlemen. So just let it be known that all of you guys who are out there supporting Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and Stellar Blade, you are supporting the absolute meltdown and destruction of everybody who is against this stuff, which is like 5 people probably at the end of the day. But still, those 5 people are very loud, and we need to make sure that they know that they are not going to win in this scenario. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.